Hi, everyone. My name is Agnes Varghese, and I'm a graduate student in developmental psychology. I will be speaking with you today about some methodology in the intersection of science and policy that should definitely be considered in the movement toward racial justice. What inspired this topic is that for the past few months, I've been in an assembly member's office in San Bernardino, working toward correcting the racial inequities in that assembly member's district. An interesting fact, as of June 23rd of this very year, San Bernardino became the first county in California to declare racism as a public health crisis. And scientists and policymakers in this area really have the potential to be leaders in conceptualizing effective measures toward change. Now, in my time in the office, I have been working on the creation of a survey to assess the racial climate of the district. All too often, we make assumptions about or decisions for entire groups of people without truly knowing from them what they are currently experiencing and what they need in order to have more livable conditions in society. That is why it is important to collect data from these very people. In this case, we want to know which groups of constituents in the area are most affected by racism, how they're experiencing that racism, and what steps they want to see in order to dismantle these inequities. Now, through this survey endeavor, I have learned a lot about how scientists and policymakers have to work together in that survey design and distribution process in order to ensure a scientifically sound survey that also meets the needs of the political office. So I thought I'd share with other scientists out there in case any of you will have to create surveys in the political offices you may work in the future. There are three topics of consideration that I want to discuss today. The first is anonymity. With scientific surveys in the field of psychology, we always de-identify participant responses in order to ensure confidentiality in case participants share information that they do not want tied back to their name. I wanted to do the same with the survey that is being sent out to residents in the district, as a survey assessing racial climate may be a sensitive topic to speak on, and maybe ensuring anonymity would allow more individuals to be comfortable speaking about racism. However, I also have to adhere to the needs of the political office. They do not want the information anonymized, as sometimes they like to send resources to constituents based on what they specifically indicate their needs are within the survey. Given this information, we settled in the middle. We didn't make the survey anonymous, but we did ensure in the instructions that all participant responses will be kept private. Next item I want to discuss is presentation. I've learned in scientific research that it's important to consider how we ask questions. Whether we do open-ended or closed response questions, the types of rating scales we use, and at which point in the survey we ask about demographic information can all impact the kinds of responses we get from participants. I incorporated such knowledge when creating these survey questions. The third item I want to discuss is approval. In the field of psychology, in order for us to conduct research with human subjects, we have to get our research plan approved by our university's Institutional Review Board, an entity that makes sure that we are doing work that is ethical. In a political office, they don't have an institutional review board, but there are others I have to get the survey approved by before distribution, including the district director, the communications specialist, the chief of staff, and the assembly member. They assess and edit the survey based on the needs of their office, how best to communicate to their constituents, and of course their own code of ethics. Let's talk implications. Hopefully, from my experience incorporating both scientific and political know-how, scientists who are planning to work in political offices can walk away with a leg up when doing work with surveys, which are really important to assess the needs of constituents. And additionally, the three considerations I discuss work toward creating ethical surveys that increase participation from constituents. And as we all know, the more ethical a survey is and the more participation we have, the better, especially for issues relating to the fight for racial justice. As I wrap up, I just wanted to note that this was a brief overview of what I'm working on. If you're curious about further details or have any specific questions or suggestions, please feel free to contact me. And I hope to see you at the live Q&A session so we can discuss more about this endeavor. And maybe after the survey is administered and the data is analyzed, I can talk to you more about what the rest of the process was like and what results I found.